Biotechnica. This is Caroline Green. In this video, I'll be talking about NEET examination. So if you're going to be a NEET aspirant, so I'm going to talk about all the smart studies tips for all of you. So I'm going to list out from 1 to 10. So whichever you find it comfortable, you can just take it up, or what do you follow to make your NEET preparation a bit faster. So you can also put it in the comment section. We can also have a discussion. So the first smart study tip that I'm going to tell you is, it's very important when you read very specifically biology, you need to study in the form of a mnemonics. Mnemonic is something which makes you to remember a very big concept, or you can study in the form of a stories. There are some people who used to draw the complete story in the form of an image and then study the concepts also. So I'm going to give you an examples of mnemonics like, dear King Philip came over for good soup. So if anybody wanted to study this for the biological classification, it starts with domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So if you remember this one, you will be having this match the following questions, everything done correctly. The second one is for citric acid cycle. What are the reactants and products that will be formed? So citrate is Krebs stable substance for making oxaloacetic acid. So citrate, isocitrate, alpha ketoglutarate, succinyl-CoA, succinate, fumarate, malate and oxaloacetic acid. So by learning this only one sentence, you have remember the complete product. So they will be asking in examinations what are the things that are formed in a Krebs cycles, or they can ask you questions based on match the following, or you can frame stories, like you can just have a story of a person who is traveling to Australia to buy certain things and coming back to India. You can have some sort of stories. This you can very specifically use it for mineral nutrition chapters. Very specifically I'm going to tell you, because mineral nutrition chapters you have to remember what are the minerals that are responsible for inhibition of cell death? What are the one that are responsible for halting another mechanisms? Or what are the mobilized and immobilized elements? And the nitrogen fixing bacteria, free nitrogen fixing bacteria. If you want to learn all those things, you can study in the form of a mnemonics, or you can study it in the form of a stories also. This is a very smart and it will definitely work, because personally I use the same for learning many things. Okay, the next one is going to be spaced repetition. What is spaced repetition? Repetition is repeating. So space is like you're going to repeat it after a pause. Suppose you're going to sing for some 2 seconds and then you're going to pause it, and then you're going to sing for the next second and you're going to pause it. So it's like a play pause button kind of thing. So how you have to do that one, I'm going to show you a graph. So you're going to start off with first day. Suppose you're learning one concept. So what you have to do is you study on the first day and revise it for 2 days, and again do it on the third day. And then third day you study a new concept and revise it for the next days. And then come on 6th day and study the previous 2 topics, which means you're going to study and pause it for some period of time without taking a book, just by revising. And then third week you're going to revise, and then you're going to study the next topic, and you're going to make a pause and revise, and then you're going to read it once again. So it's like a space. You're going to give a space and you're going to study it like this. This is a wonderful method of learning, because whenever you read a concept, if you close your book and you're going to repeat it and see, you will not forget many things. That's going to be the space repetitions. So the third important one is audio-visual memory. This is wonderful memory, I would say. This is a wonderful working technique also. So usually whenever we see something, we used to learn it a bit faster. Suppose if I'm going to tell you the structure of a DNA and RNA, you would definitely not know what is the structure. But if I'm going to show you the image of a DNA and RNA, you will never forget. Or if I say some kind of a plant which is actually very, very useful or economically important, or if I show a picture of a water hyacinth, or which actually corrupts the entire water populations. So if I say, you will not understand, but if I show a picture, you will definitely know what is it all about. Very specifically, when we talk in case of biology, morphology in flowering plants, anatomy in flowering plants very specifically, and when we talk in case of plant physiology, so you need to see images, flow charts, or in the form of a pathway or cycles, then it will be very easy. Audio visual memory is like you're going to watch a video or animated videos or a lecture videos which has both. You can visualize the concept also, you can actually listen to it also. This is a wonderful method. Suppose if you want to learn any concept, I would suggest personally to go and watch a video about the topic and then come back to the NCERT book, take your NCERT book and start learning it. If you're going to touch your NCERT book first, it would be very difficult for you if you're going to read it for the first time. If you have already done it, then you can take your NCERT book, read it, and then you can watch a video and then come back to the book and read it once again. So audio visual memory is definitely going to work. It's a smarter study tips and it's definitely going to be a wonderful technique. Next is study in chunked sections. So chunked is like you're going to study it in pieces. So if I'm going to talk about unit number 2, let me take unit number 2. So in unit number 2, you'll be having very specifically morphology of flowering, structural organization in animals and plants. So you're going to have a morphology in flowering plants, anatomy in flowering plants, and of course structural organization in animals also you're going to have. So if you're going to talk in case of morphology, you cannot study all the examples within very faster period of time. So what you can do is you can study half the portion till reticulate venations or venations and parallel venation till that one day, and the rest of the floral families and all these things along with the floral diagram you can study it in the next day, and on the third day you can revise the complete one in the form of a tabulation. So you don't have to study a complete unit within one day or within one period of time. If you're going to start it fresh, you can divide it into the smaller chunks, and then if you're going to learn it, it's going to be very easy for you. So very specifically, if you have to talk in case of a plant physiology, when you go in for plant growth regulators or any other units, you have to learn it in the form of a chunks. This can be applied even for chemistry also. When you go for organic, you cannot study all the reaction within 1 hour or 2 hours. So what you have to do, you can split those reactions for 1 hour certain things and for the next day certain other things. So always study physics, chemistry or biology in the form of a chunk sessions only. Next one is smart work. What is this smart work? I'm going to tell you a few important points for a smart work. Stick to your NCERT very specifically for chemistry and biology, not for physics. And the second one is M, which is mock test, is very important. Next important thing, after writing a mock test, you have to analyze how many you wrote correct, how many you did wrong. So analyze yourself where you're going to stand, how many questions you're able to answer, how many negative mark, how many time you take to answer each of the question. Next one is regularity in study. So consistency is the key to success, of course. So if you're not going to be consistent or regular in your studies, it is very difficult to enter into your target of achieving success or becoming a doctor. The next one is take notes. Whenever you are studying, always prefer to take a personalized note. You make your own notes in the form of a diagrams or in the form of a short notes. Then work on the weaker areas. So if you are not comfortable with a specific part, some people will be very comfortable with chemistry and physics but not with biology. Some people with chemistry and biology, not with physics. So work on the weaker areas or weaker topics, whichever you're going to do. And overstudying, you don't have to overstudy. It's not like 24/7 you have to sit and study. So just divide the time accordingly and split it for physics separately, chemistry separately and biology separately. Every day study at least one topic in each of the things. If you're going to study on the same day at the start, it's going to be very easy. The last one is definitely a revision, and always keep practicing whatever you study. That's the thing called as smart work. So this is a wonderful tip for you. And the next one is study at a dedicated area. Very important. So you don't have to sit in an area which is so much distracted, and you have to sit it in a place where you're free from distraction and also where you're going to do productive studies, which is going to give you relaxations. Then only you can study, and always take up a very important topics and start studying. So study at a dedicated area and subject-wise plan. Always have a subject-wise plan when we go for very specifically for NEET examination, because we have botany, zoology, physics and chemistry. So you have almost 360 marks for the complete one. So you don't have, I observe most of the people studying only biology and chemistry. Some leaving physics, some study physics and biology, leaving chemistry. So that's not a good idea. You have to study biology. Biology will make you to clear the NEET examination, but it doesn't gives you a rank. So all the three subjects are very important. So biology, I'm going to tell you what are the things you have to follow. First thing, Take one chapter every day, one chapter one day. And you can take small chapters also, like you can start with living world. Digestion and human physiology is a very simple one. You can study cell cycle and cell the unit of life together. So take up some small unit so that you can finish all the small units within one day itself. And focus on all the diagrams that is given in your NCERT book. This is the most important thing, very important thing, easy thing that you can do. Focus on back exercises of NCERT. Most of the students used to skip solving the back exercises which is given in the NCERT book for every chapter, and read every line by line. Every line, every word is very important. Revise important units very specifically, because you tend to forget things. Like genetics, if you go for, you would be forgetting what is multiple allelism, what is polygenic inheritance, what is pleiotrophy, what is recessive epistasis, dominant epistasis, complementary genes. You have to remember what is linkages and recombination, what's the correlation between them, and you have to study about the genetic disorders, Mendelian disorders, mutations. So there are so many things to study in genetics. So revise these things, keep on revising all these important units. Of course, human physiology, a must, where you have to study from digestion till the chemical control and coordination. Plant physiology, definitely an important thing, and biotechnology more often. So these chapters has to be given importance. And then what are the books that you can refer? Definitely NCERT is very must for a biology. And you can have Arihant papers of last 30 years papers you can have, and definitely MTG fingertips is a must for solving all the question. And very specifically, assertion reasons question should be keep on solving in the biology, because you used to make a lot of mistake in that only. So try to solve assertion and reason questions also in biology. The next is going to be physics. So in physics, what are the things you have to do? So before going in for physics, if you're not clear about any concept, the best way to learn is you cannot read it from NCERT book, because it's not going to help you if you're going to learn concepts from your NCERT. So watch video lectures of certain concepts. So whatever you're going to learn, if you're going to learn thermodynamics, if you're going to learn any other optics, or whatever you're going to learn, or wave optics, or whatever you're going to learn, watch a video, understand the concepts, and make a summary sheets with all the formulas, because in physics we have a lot of numerical formulas and numerical problems you have to solve. So write all those things in the form of a summary sheets, and keep practicing lot of questions and revising the concepts along with the formulas and the question. And you have to solve at least 30 years papers of physics. And if you want to follow books, you can follow DC Pandey or Arora or H.C. Verma. If you don't have time, then you can leave. If you have time, then you can actually go in for this one, or else you can definitely leave that one. The next is definitely MTG questions, like NCERT fingertips by MTG, definite book, you have to follow this one. The next is for chemistry. I'm going to tell you the preference of chemistry also. So start with last 4 chapters of NCERT. You have to start with all the last 4 chapters very specifically, I'm going to tell you. So you have to try to finish them in 1 day or 2 days. Like you can take up biomolecules, you can take polymers. So everything you can take up, and just do NCERT only, whether it is organic or inorganic. First do NCERT only. And you can study first physical, then inorganic, and then organic. Keep this order, so it will be very easy. And solve a lot of questions in physical chemistry. And you have to definitely do metallurgy and chapters like coordinated and compound as priority. And after you have done chemical bonding, you can do SPDF blocks all together. Together you can do all these chapters of S block elements, P block element, D block elements, and F block elements together. And very important thing I'm going to highlight is remember the structure of acids, because most of the time it is asked as a repeated question. So remember the structure of acids. And the most important thing is reaction mechanism. You have to study it in organic chemistry very properly. And in case of especially class 12th organic, you have to target a lot of time. So this is for the chemistry tips that you have to follow. This is the subject wise plan for you. The next important thing, after studying, you are going to revise whether it's physics, chemistry, or biology. The next one, I'm going to tell you another technique while you are in the time of preparation. I'm going to tell you 20% you're going to read, 80% you're going to revise. Suppose, let me take as an example. You're studying glycolysis. So you're going to read glycolysis. After hearing a lecture, you're going to take your book along with your NCERT. You're going to learn it and you're going to write it in a note. After that, After studying that one, close the note and now start telling all the reactants which starts from glucose till pyruvate. Keep telling glucose, glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate, line by line, and tell all the enzymes along with do a calculation in your mind. How many ATPs are generated, how many ATPs used, how many NADH are generated. Very specifically you can do that. So what you have done is you have done 20% read, but you're going to revise it 80%. So as you keep increasing the revision, it becomes very easy for you to write or answer question. If you're going to read for 80% and you're going to revise it for only 20%, it becomes very difficult when it comes to chemistry or when it comes to biology, when you have to remember things. When it comes to physics, you have to remember formulas. So you have to revise all those things properly. The next important smart study tip I'm going to tell you is, what are the things you shouldn't do? Things you need to stop doing right away. Doubting yourself. Yes, this is a most common problem for most of the NEET aspirant, is doubting themselves when they do it. And procrastination. So procrastinating, okay, let me do it tomorrow. So that's a very bad habit, never ever do it. And planning your preparation. Planning your preparation in the sense like, let me do the plan for next year. Let me do it slowly. Let me do it and let me finish. That shouldn't be there. So these are some of the smart study tips for all the NEET aspirants, starting with mnemonics, your spaced repetitions, 20% read, 80% revise, audio-visual memory, and studying in the form of chunks, smart work, and studying in a dedicated area, and subject-wise plans, and keep revising all this thing. So these are some of the smart study tips that you can definitely follow, and it will definitely going to be productive. And please put it in the comments section, what's the best study tip that you would suggest if you're going to be a NEET aspirant, so that it is going to be helpful for all of them. So I believe that this video is helpful for all of you. If you really like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Biotechnica.